I saw a comment saying I should make a video on Jimmy Garoppolo, and the second I saw it, I just thought it made perfect sense. Of course I should make a video on Jimmy Garoppolo, because he's such an interesting player to talk about. The guy's 27 years old and the third highest paid player in the NFL. However, despite that, he's only started in 10 games due to playing behind Tom Brady and also having unfortunate luck with injuries. But in those 10 games, I think it's fair to say we know he does some things very well. Like take this play for example. It's a cover 2 zone, and this is the route concept that the 49ers will be running. This isn't anything too fancy. I mean, this is a pretty basic cover 2 zone, and this route concept isn't anything too out of the ordinary. However, I think Garoppolo does a very good job of quickly realizing what's going on, making the correct read, and throwing it to the right guy. I do have a bit of a nitpick on it. I do think that Garoppolo should have done a better job of not staring down the receiver that he was going to be throwing to, as it allowed that Chiefs safety to run forward. However, he still has such a quick release, and he's so quick with the ball, that he's still able to hit his receiver and pick up some yards. But I also think that this is the perfect example of how talented Garoppolo can be. Even when a safety plays the situation perfectly, albeit because of a mistake Garoppolo made, but still the safety played it perfectly, and even despite that, Garoppolo was still able to hit his receiver and pick up some yards. I made a video talking about Nick Foles and his quick release. Well, Garoppolo seems to get the ball out just as quickly. As you see, there's going to be man coverage on the bottom of the screen, and that's the route that Garoppolo is going to try to throw to. However, that's not where he's instantly looking to throw to. He's first looking to the top half of the screen, as that's where his first reads are. However, he doesn't like what he sees, and he's instead going to look to the bottom half of the screen. And as you see, it's okay to not look at that route at the bottom half of the screen right away, as it's going to take a little bit to develop anyways. Garoppolo isn't sure if that receiver is going to be open, and it's only going to be a tight window where he's going to have time to try to hit him. So as you see, the second he does get open, Garoppolo still isn't into throwing motion. However, he still gets the ball out almost instantly and is able to hit his receiver for a first down. I think that play is a great example of showing how his quick release is able to help benefit the 49ers. Well, I do really like Jimmy G, and I think he's a really smart player. He does have some flaws in his game. Like, take this play for example. As you see, the 49ers are going to send a man in motion, and because there's a man in motion and a Panther follows him, now they know that's man coverage. And that's a good thing for San Francisco. As you see, this is the route concept that they're running, and it could be great against man coverage. There's a couple of quick cuts to the middle of the screen, which you love in man coverage. But one of the things Jimmy Garoppolo does relatively often when he's not sure exactly where he wants to throw the ball right after the snap is he looks in the direction of where he's not going to be trying to throw the ball just to see what kind of coverage it is, and then he'll decide where he wants to look. I know in that first play I showed you, he kind of had a problem of staring down his receiver for too long. However, that was different because he already knew he was going to throw it there. On a play like this, he's not exactly sure where he wants to throw the ball right away. He's looking in the middle of the screen to see if there's going to be a lion in coverage in that middle of the screen. And since there is, he knows he has to get the ball off pretty quickly and he has to throw it towards the sidelines. So it already took him a little bit of time to do that, and now he looks to the left to see if there's a guy who can find us open and try to make a throw in that direction. However, the problem is, the 49er on that side of the screen isn't really open. There actually is a 49er open on the top half of the screen. However, by the time it takes Garoppolo to realize that, he's already getting sacked. It took me a bit of time to find the flaw in Jimmy Garoppolo, however, that's pretty much the biggest one I could come up with, and even that one can't have his advantages. I mean, you would like a 27-year-old quarterback to be able to make those reads a little bit faster and then be able to get to the throw to the top half of the screen. However, it's worth mentioning that even though he makes his reads quickly, he's only started 10 games. While of course he's still been practicing constantly and he's still had time to play in college, I think the only real way to get better at reading NFL defenses is by playing football and reading NFL defenses. However, I want to be very clear about what I'm talking about here. Oftentimes, Garoppolo's quote-unquote first read will be to a guy that he's not planning on throwing to right away. He uses that read to see what coverage it is, and then throws to the receiver who has the best chance of breaking that coverage. The problem with this is it essentially puts you one progression behind. So by the time it would take you to typically get to your third progression, it takes Garoppolo that long just to get to his second progression. However, there are significant advantages as well, like on a play like this for example. As you see, it's a cover 3 zone, and this is the route concept that the 49ers will be running. However, one thing to watch is that lion who's in charge of guarding that flat on the bottom half of the screen has a long way to go to guard that flat on the bottom half of the screen. Meaning that despite that curl route being literally in the middle of his assigned zone, it could still take him a while to get there, which could allow that to be actually a good route to throw to. Garoppolo knows this because he saw the pre-snap positionings. Then after the snap, he looks up and sees that the Lions linebackers are clearly in zone coverage, meaning that he knows that route on the bottom half of the screen is going to end up getting open. He throws it there instantly, and they're able to pick up a first down out of it. I would imagine that the defender would have broken down to the flat a lot quicker had Garoppolo been staring in that direction. However, because of this play, he's able to make the throw and they were able to pick up a first down. I started this point off kind of saying that it's sort of like a flaw in Garoppolo's game, however, it can also be a huge advantage depending on the situation. While Garoppolo does take a little extra second to get the ball off, his release is so quick that when he starts to get the ball off, it ends up helping him and giving him less time to actually have to get the ball off. He's a really interesting player to watch, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him play an entire season. I mean, if he ever plays an entire season, which I'm not so sure he will at this point.